It's day 2 of the Chenin Blanc International Conference, and once again, speakers from all over the world coming together to share ideas and discuss just what makes Chenin Blanc oh so special, and joined by a number of top South African producers, including one of the Swartland's finest, Eben Sadie.
Yeah, I think it's a relevant day. We attended yesterday as well. I think it was a lot of academics initially in terms of genetics. It's also amazing work that some of these professors have done. So it's amazing to see the amount of research in terms of the industry and the interest in Chenin. And also, I think the biggest talk would be disease pressure. I mean, the thunderstorm we're encountering now in all the regions around the Stellenbosch region is basically so relevant as an example in terms of regenerative farming, whether it's the discussion around hybrids, whether it's genetically editing the Vitis vinifera variety in terms of Chenin. So I think it's relevant, maybe room dividing discussions. I'm a purist in terms of Vitis vinifera. So for me, the balance of farming in a more sustainable way or biological farming is what we do in terms of organic sprays, but also a huge amount of investment in the soil. So it's relevant discussions, and I think the timing is perfect because we all have questions that we ask, and to get the Chenin Blanc International Congress in Stellenbosch and to have these information being spread and shared is quite a relevant time and opportunity.
For me, what really stood out was the whole, at least the romance behind the history of the grape, which I thought was very interesting. And then also the regenerative farming, which I do think is our future, going forward as young winemakers. Well, not so young anymore, but but that's our future. We're farming for our grandkids, as one of the guys said. And that's the way to preserve it. I think shows like these are absolutely amazing, and especially we're all very passionate about Chenin Blanc. It's just everyone comes together in one room, a whole bunch of passionate people, and I think that really is how you promote the grape. And for the future of the varietal as well. As a South African, I believe this is our white grape. It's what we can call our own. And I think having people from around the world also united behind it, it just makes it so much stronger. It makes it more powerful. So for me also, all of the foreign wines, just tasting the Australian wines in over there were absolutely amazing. I have to say, you can taste that Chenin, and that for me is the important part. Chenin from Lua, or Chenin from Australia, and Chenin from South Africa, it's just an amazing grape varietal. I'm very proud and very passionate about the grape.
Yeah, day 2 has just been really great. I think everybody's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more settled. Yesterday we still had some of the delegates flying in after we'd started. And that was quite fun. People were arriving with bottles of wine under their arms, which they'd had to bring over because some of the wines which I'm about to taste, in fact, were carried in because the shipment was delayed, and all some of the wines we're supposed to be tasting at the Congress have now been hand-delivered by the team. So that was some of yesterday's fun. And I think now, today, everyone's settled, they rested, it's a thunderstorm, and just a little bit more intimate and a little bit more casual and more interactive, more debate. The Congress has to tick multiple boxes. They have to do academic, they have to share knowledge, that sort of thing. So we've done a lot of that today. And it's really been brought home to all the wonderful work that's being done in Stellenbosch. And then a very personal, pleasant surprise was 2 visitors from Western Australia, and just to share sort of commonalities between their history, their experiences with Chenin, and the renaissance at Chenin that's busy taking place there. That was really quite something special and emotional. What I'm going to take back to Fundling, definitely from a winemaking point of view, is just purity of site expression and varietal expression. Let's really celebrate what the grape is, and let's express it as purely as possible.
As a category, Chenin Blanc is incredibly important for South Africa, and South Africa's role in the Chenin Blanc category globally is massive. South Africa produces over 50% of the world's Chenin. In fact, more than 52% of the world's Chenin Blanc vineyards are in South Africa, even more than France, where the variety is supposed to come from. So that makes South Africa quite a powerful and important player. But I think the importance of it is to grow Chenin Blanc's status as a category. Because if you look at the world today, over 40% of the hectarage across the world of wine is confined to 13 grape varieties, and Chenin is not one of them. And so the international community of producers making Chenin Blanc wines have to hold hands. And the other part of it is that we need to share knowledge, whether it be from a practitioner's point of view or from an academic point of view. I sit on both sides of the fence. So for me, it's lovely to hear the stories from the producers and the need, and to share knowledge and share testimony on new advances, so that as a collective across the world, although we are all competing with each other essentially, we're also collaborating. And so you gain competitive advantage by doing that. Even though Australia or France are our competitors in the Chenin Blanc category, we should still hold hands with each other to advance our knowledge and the status of Chenin Blanc in the global market compared to other varieties. So the theme for the conference is Chenin Blanc, revealer of place. And so I'm looking at that statement and critically assessing it in terms of the connection between old vine category, which is vineyards older than 35 years old. This afternoon, we're going to Mrs. Kirsten Vineyard, which is over 50 years old and is in the heart of Stellenbosch, less than a 5-minute drive. So this has become what we call a nascent category. That's a relatively young category, but it has rapidly proliferated and achieved a very high status in the market in a very short space of time. Through the activities of the Old Vine Project. And so they're commanding higher prices. Now, 50% of old vineyards in South Africa are Chenin Blanc. So there is a strong relationship between the two categories. And Chenin Blanc it plays an important role in South Africa. It's emblematic of South Africa. It's been here since the 1600s. And one was, if not the first, one of the first grape varieties to be planted in South Africa. So it's closely tied to this place and to a certain time. And so we've studied the connection between these two categories, and we looked at consumer media sentiments around Chenin Blanc and old vines. And what we found is that old vines had a very high perceived status. That means that it had a high social standing in the market and also a higher value. And therefore it had what we call premiumized, which is appreciated in status and value. Whereas when we first started studying it, Chenin Blanc had a relatively low status. It was seen as an obscure grape variety, kind of a neutral taste. It was like considered a workhorse grape. And so there wasn't an established connection between old vines and Chenin Blanc. But we continued to study it, and especially the media perceptions, because they shape a lot of the conversations and the status around wine categories. And we found that because there was a growing recognition of the association between old vines and Chenin Blanc, the status of Chenin Blanc started to rise over time. And we are seeing very exciting perceptions. And why did that happen? Because when you associate it, the connection to time and place for Chenin Blanc becomes stronger in the minds of people. And therefore it lifts the status of the Chenin Blanc category by association. So we have the strong, what we call effect from provenance, which is connection to time, place, and people. And that's been remarkably influential in the growing status of Chenin Blanc, which is going to be great for the South African wine industry.
A frequent point of discussion at the Congress has been old vines and the importance in making great Chenin Blanc, and that made Wednesday afternoon's trip out to the Mevrou Kirsten vineyard all the more special. Mevrou Kirsten, the Chenin Blanc made by Eben Sadie from vines planted in 1942, making it the oldest Chenin Blanc vineyard in South Africa, and Eben Sadie himself was there to explain just why this is such an important piece of South Africa's wine heritage.
It's a very special occasion to have you here, and it is similar to what I said in my speech the other morning, where I said this is how we were received, with warmth and generosity in the Loire. So welcome, and I hope that you've enjoyed your week so far and that you will enjoy this experience.
If you want to make a swimming pool wine, it's another story. But if you want to make a serious wine, it's a good base. So the Mevrou Kirsten vineyard, obviously quite a radical stance for me to come out to Stellenbosch, but I really met the vineyard in a way in 2015, saw the vineyard, fell in love with this incredibly old vineyard in the middle of the town of Stellenbosch. It's our only urban vineyard of sorts, and I literally climbed over the fence and walked up to the owner's house, who was Anna Kirsten at the time. And Anna Kirsten, she's now unfortunately passed. She passed in 2014, left it to her children. But she said, I can take care of the vineyard, and it's been the last 15 years. It's been a journey of truly recuperating the vineyard, caring, a lot of care, a lot of nurturing going around to get this vineyard to be in its full state. The vineyard's in an incredible condition at the moment, and it's been amazing to see the parallel dynamic between with the increased quality of the vineyard, the increased quality of the wine, and I mean there's no separation between the two. And so the first vintage produced was 2006, and we've just released 2021. So it's been 15 years in the bottle, and there's another vintage in the cellar, and there's one in the vineyard. So it's been an incredible journey with this wine, and it was actually the first of the old vineyards that we bottled at the Sadie family wines in the Old Vine series. So it's a very important wine for us. It's a very significant wine, and there's not a lot of bottles, but if you can get your hands on one, just give it time, and please don't open it too early.
Tonight is fun, tonight is casual, tonight is a chance to meet some new friends, to have a wonderful evening together, and to break bread and drink Chenin Blanc. Santé and what
When Chenin Blanc Association Chair Ken Forrester is involved, it's always a great party, and the gala dinner at Longridge Estate no exception. Some terrific Chenin Blanc paired up with some superb food, and the chance for old and new friends from across the world of Chenin Blanc to reflect on 2 fantastic days so far of the International Chenin Blanc Conference. The highlight of the day, undoubtedly, Eben Sadie with his guided tour of the Mevrou Kirsten vineyard. One more day still to come. We'll see you back for day 3 tomorrow.